Another very practical thing, and this is always a hot topic, but music stands.
Wait. Okay. Every time I've ever mentioned music stands.
Yes.
And let's just be upfront.
It's like the Scarlet Letter.
Pastor Fuller and I are vehemently opposed
Yes.
to music stands on stage.
Yes. For the most part, yes.
For the most part.
Yeah.
Now, if you're leading an orchestra,
Yeah.
maybe they should.
There are a few exceptions, yeah.
But, okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate.
Okay, let's do
I
it.
strongly disagree with you.
About the music stands?
Yes.
Oh, you can be wrong.
But that's what everyone says.
Yes.
I strongly disagree with you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So when you ask why, that usually it's because but I use a music stand.
Yeah, so
or that church uses music stands.
I'm sure they do. I've seen some videos where they do.
And maybe they need to.
Yeah, you know what? And
they have their own reasons.
Yeah, and they do. And I think that this is one of those areas where you have to decide what works for you.
Yeah.
Here's what I know. When I got to the church I was at, everybody was using music stands, and I hated it because I came from a church where we didn't use music stands. To me, it's so awkward to see, especially the front person, the main guy, like the guy who's my pastor, the guy who's leading me in worship, who's telling me about how all week God's been speaking to him about this song. But yet he needs a music stand to get the first line. I go, really, God's been speaking to you all week about this, but you don't know the song yet?
Right.
And so, maybe that's me, I'm super critical, and I'm not saying that's you, and that everyone who uses a music stand does that. I'm just saying a music stand is literally a physical thing that separates you, the worship leader, from me, the congregation. And anytime we put something in between us, it's going to create more distance. Because the stage is enough. Just because you're on the stage separates us. So now we got to overcome that obstacle. Right. We have to say, hey, I know I'm on stage, but we're part of this together. We're a family, and I've got a microphone, and I can talk louder than you, and you can say whatever you want, and I probably can't hear you. And so there's all these obstacles, and to me, a music stand is one more obstacle that says, hey, this is in between me and you. But I do think every person's different. A lot of the common reasons I hear for using music stands are all things that I feel like are crutches. Yeah. Like, we can't memorize the music.
Right.
Which, hey, maybe that's a legitimate concern for some people. Some people with bad memories or something. But I would venture to say if you're a worship leader, you need to learn how to memorize music.
Right.
You need to learn how to do those things from memory.
And you probably have most of it memorized.
Yeah, it becomes a crutch.
You might surprise yourself.
Now, lyrics are a little different. If you're doing a hymn that has 9 verses, that's a little different. And I'll make a cheat sheet and put it on my guitar or something. But again, it's not creating this distance between me and the audience. And the other truth, Brian, really is that all of these worship songs are the same chords.
They are.
I mean, Worship Tutorials is an awesome website to show you how to play 8,000 songs the exact same way. And that's what's awesome, about worship. But, there's little things we have to learn. But I just think a music stand, especially for the worship leader, I think that most of the time it's a crutch and we're just afraid to step off. What I do know for a fact is that in 2 ministries I've been a part of, once we've removed the music stands, we have seen much greater engagement.
Yeah.
So I can only speak from the fact that I've seen that work. That doesn't mean that because you use a music stand, you're not going to have an engagement.
Right.
I mean, if Bethel uses music stands, hey, they're Bethel. It works for them.
Yeah.
So the real question, if you're asking me what can I do to increase engagement, I will say kill the music stands. But that doesn't mean that I'm right and you have to do it. I'm just saying, hey, in my experience, it helps. Yeah. I will say this. If you're an orchestral musician and you're reading complex melodies and 85 musicians are all playing exact written parts, that's different. Right. That's an appropriate setting, but that's also something you expect. When I go to see U2 in concert, Bono doesn't have a music stand.
No.
If they're playing with the chamber orchestra, they will have music stands. So it's totally normal and common. So when I come to church, if I see a band all with music stands, I'm kind of like, how come every other band I've seen play doesn't do this? So it kind of says we're not prepared. And that's just me.
Well, I think a couple things. When I made the transition from using music stands to not using music stands, one, it was a lot easier than I expected it to be. 2, the connection that I had with people and the Holy Spirit in the room was immeasurably higher.
Yeah.
Because if you have that there, you're going to look at it. I rarely see people with a music stand that don't look at it.
Well, and Brian, I think the question is not why should we not use music stands? I'd say the question is why should I use it?
Right.
Answer that question. Why should I use it?
Okay.
I would challenge you to write down 5 reasons why you should use it.
Yeah.
And I'd be surprised if one of them wasn't, so I had the lyrics in front of me or so I had the chords in front of me.
Yeah.
Because if you take those 2 things away,
what do you need it
what's
for?
the other reason? To hold my iPad?
Right.
But what's your iPad doing? Oh, controlling my in-ear mix? Okay, that's different.
Yeah.
Then figure out a different way to do that. But if you really ask yourself, why should I use it? Like Paul says in the Bible, not everything is bad, but not everything is beneficial either.
Right.
And so I would just challenge you, worship leaders, hey, if you find yourself asking the question, how can I get people to engage more? And you use a music stand, just do an experiment. One weekend, say, you know what, I'm not going to use the music stand. Try it out and see.
Yeah.
Come back and email us if we're totally crazy.
Please.
Yeah.
Report.
Yes.
But I'm going to be blunt. If I see music stands, it says 1, you're not going to engage with me very well.
Yeah.
2, you're not prepared.
Yeah.
And if you push back on that, I would ask you, well, how do you define being prepared? Because I would define being prepared as knowing the songs well enough to not have to read music.
Yeah.
And honestly, as worship leaders, there is so much that we are doing when we lead worship that's not music.
Oh.
Playing guitar or piano or whatever instrument, or if you don't play an instrument, singing, or both of those things, they should be so much on autopilot,
Yes. Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
Because what you're doing as a worship, and this is maybe a topic for another video.
Yeah, there's like 5 more videos right here.
What you're doing as a worship leader, there are things that you're doing that are so much more important than the music you're playing.
Yeah.
And it needs to be something that you can just do in your sleep. So if you're not prepared enough to play the music and sing the song that you have to read the music, then I think you're far from being prepared. And if that hurts a little bit, I'm sorry, I love you, but this will help you become a better worship leader.
Yeah, and the truth is, I've been leading worship for 10 years. There are weekends where I'm not prepared, and I know it.
Absolutely.
I know I'm not prepared. And that's okay. There are times when life gets busy, but it shouldn't be a reason to fall back on a crutch. So, yeah.